Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to have you all back. Today, I've got some exciting information to share with you. So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to share some more information that I've found on the effects of what we're doing now on our bodies, the physiological effects. And I will also share the resource where I got it from for those of you who want to go and find out more. So I'm going to do that, and there's a few different sections of that. And the second thing is that we have created the Facebook group we were talking about. I think it was yesterday, where we spoke about a private Facebook group where you can post and create your new memories. So we're calling it the Remmert Method New Memory Garden. And I'll share the link to that with you afterwards as well. So first of all, climbing straight into the physiological stuff. So all of this information that I'm going to share with you now comes from someone you may already have heard of. His name is Dr. David Hamilton. He is a specialist in kindness, the effects of kindness. And I'd seen him before, but I've recently come across a lot more of his stuff, and he has a free course that I'm going to share the link with you for those of you who want to do it. But I want to share just the main information that I've got from this course so far. So first of all, inflammation. So as I say, he deals with kindness specifically, which is the part of unconditional love, or one of the parts of unconditional love that produces the oxytocin chemical in your bloodstream. So beginning with inflammation, when you hurt yourself, you cut yourself or something, the site becomes inflamed so that it can heal. It's very important for healing. But the problem with inflammation is it happens inside the body as well. And if it's not regulated, it's not, it increases for fighting off disease or healing, and then it needs to decrease. If it doesn't do that, that's what is connected to a lot of the serious diseases. So inflammation is a big factor in a lot of serious diseases. Now, the vagus nerve runs throughout the body. So very briefly, it runs throughout the whole body, and the vagus nerve, that's spelled V-A-G-U-S, it is what's responsible for regulating inflammation. So when the body senses that there's enough inflammation to heal the wound, then the vagus nerve recognizes that and turns off the inflammation. Of course, the problem comes when the vagus nerve doesn't do that. And stress is one of the things that causes that to happen, where the inflammation is not being turned off when it's not needed. So scientists refer to the health of the vagus nerve, excuse me, in the same way we refer to the health of muscles. So, if you do a lot of exercise and then you get muscle tone, and muscle tone is that's a good thing, they refer to vagal tone. So that's the health of the vagus nerve, is vagal tone is what they call it. And so when it's got when you have high vagal tone, it means that your vagus nerve is better at its capacity for keeping inflammation down. So in a study that he describes in the first lesson of his course, it was found that feelings of kindness, in other words, production of oxytocin, reduced the marker for inflammation. So when they tested people, when they were feeling kindness, they had a lower level of this marker that indicates inflammation. And the other thing that they discovered is that just as repeated physical exercise improves muscle tone, repeated kindness, in other words, repeated production of oxytocin, improves vagal tone. So this is over a period of time. So this is not like you do it once or twice and then it goes away. It's the more you do it, the stronger, the better your body gets at controlling inflammation, so that it doesn't lead to illness. So that, I'm going to switch off the doorbell. I forgot to switch off the doorbell. Where is it now? Oh, here we go. There we go. All right. So that's inflammation. We move on to the cardiovascular system. So as you may have heard me talk about this before, and I learned it from David Hamilton originally. As oxytocin goes through your arteries, it docks in the receptors inside the arteries. And one of the effects of that is it produces nitric oxide, which is a substance that softens the walls of the arteries. It's also used as a medication, but we produce it ourselves. It softens the walls of the arteries and causes them to dilate, get bigger. And then as they become wider, your blood pressure goes down because your heart's not having to pump so hard to get that blood through. So oxytocin is also cardioprotective. So it protects your heart and arteries. So these are all reasons for feeling kindness. And of course, kindness is part of unconditional love. So every time you do the Superpower exercise, you're pumping oxytocin into your system. So the next part of this, of the cardiovascular, is that studies have shown that people who were more hostile and aggressive, so they studied married couples discussing their lives and home and various aspects of their lives, and they discovered that people who were more hostile and aggressive had higher levels of calcification in their arteries, artery calcification. So, and then those who were kind and warm and affectionate and compassionate. So again, that's down to the oxytocin, because when you feel love, kindness, appreciation, affection, oxytocin is going through your system, keeping that calcification down. And protecting your heart. And he did point out that it's not that being hostile or aggressive causes cardiovascular disease. It's just that it turns off or turns down the natural protective mechanism of oxytocin. So I hope that makes sense. So now we get to heart attacks in dogs. So scientists discovered that, this is quite a long time ago, they discovered that people who had a dog were 400% less likely to have a second heart attack within 12 months. So if they'd had a heart attack, the people who had dogs were 400% less likely to have another one within 12 months than those who didn't have a dog. And they used to think that it was because of the exercise, walking the dog. So they thought, of course, exercise is good for your heart, and they thought that that was the reason. But they did some more research and more studies, and it turns out sure, the exercise is definitely a factor, and it's very important, and it is part of it, but a huge part of it is the relationship the person has with the dog, because it generates oxytocin. So in a study that was published in one of the top scientific journals in the world, they split a group of people, who had good relationships with their dogs. They split them into two groups, and they called them the long gazers and the short gazers. And they found that over 30 minutes of interacting with their dog, the long gazers, so those are people who held eye contact with their dogs for longer, and the short gazers were people who didn't hold eye contact with their dogs. So they found that the long gazers, over a period of 30 minutes of interacting with their dog, experienced increased levels of oxytocin at a rate of 10% per minute. So their oxytocin levels went up 10% per minute over 30 minutes compared to those who did not hold eye contact. And that's again because it's about, it's not just kindness, it's connection, and it's affection, and it's love. All right. So moving on to the immune system. So there's two more. I'm doing the immune system and then aging. So the immune system, which is very appropriate at this time in the world, of course, he talks about the Mother Teresa effect. So a group of volunteers was shown a 15-minute video of Mother Teresa on the streets of Calcutta carrying out acts of kindness and compassion. And there's an antibody for our immune system that's called SIGA, and it's the first part of the immune system. So if we intake some bacteria, a little piece of bacteria or something, that's the first thing that that kicks off the immune system. That's the first protection. And you can measure it in saliva. So they showed this video of Mother Teresa being kind to this group of people, and then they tested their SIGA, their saliva for SIGA, and the levels of that antibody in those people who they weren't being kind themselves, they were just watching it, was massively increased. There was a huge increase. And then in addition to that, the level of SIGA, those levels were still high an hour later because they were talking about it. So they'd seen the video an hour before, and they were saying to, oh, do you remember when she did this and when she did, and how lovely that was? And their system was still filling with oxytocin, because that's how we generate it. Okay, so that's good to know. And then aging, so anti-aging. So one of the causes of aging in skin, like wrinkling, is oxidative stress, and you've probably heard of that before. So, and when we're feeling stressed, which includes all negative emotions, a process that happens inside our cells is called oxidative stress, and it produces free radicals that cause the effects of aging in the skin. And so there's things you can take that are that bring down the free radicals, including green tea and a whole bunch of other stuff. But we can do it inside our own bodies ourselves, because they tested some skin cells in a laboratory situation, and it showed that so putting the cells in stress hormones and then adding oxytocin. So they put the stress hormones, created the oxidative stress process. When they added oxytocin to the mixture, to that cell, the mixture the cells were in, it lowered the oxidative stress process in the cells. And he describes it as like a seesaw. So when you've got more oxytocin, you've got less oxidative stress, and vice versa. So increasing oxytocin results in the oxytocin finding its way into the skin cells, and reducing oxidative stress in your skin cells so that it's anti-aging, you don't age as fast. So that's a really good reason for it, right? So the point he was making is that kindness literally slows the aging process at a cellular level. Now, he also points out, he ends by pointing out that you have to, there's a catch-22, he says, because you have to mean it. So you can't just do kind acts without feeling it. So sometimes, we feel we should, oh, I'm going to take this, I'm going to help this person with something because I should. And it's a kind act, but I'm not feeling the kindness because I'm doing it because I should, or because somebody might think badly of me if I don't, or whatever other reasons, or maybe I feel resentful. It's the feeling that works, because it's the feeling that's the oxytocin. So it's only when you're feeling kindness and love and affection that your system has oxytocin in it. But that also means that you don't actually need to physically do anything. All you need to do is think about it, like the people watching the video and then talking about it and so on. So I just wanted to give you some of that really core physiological information and foundation from scientific research to reassure you and reiterate just how powerful what we're doing, these exercises are. And so for those who would like to go into to do his course, it is free. He's also on Facebook, so you can look him up on Facebook. He's very active on his page. His name is Dr. David Hamilton. And here I'm putting in the chat the link to his course for those of you who are on the call now. And of course, anyone watching the recording I sent it to Steve privately. Hold on a second to everyone. Anyone who's watching the recording will, of course, put it in the description of the video. All right. So hopefully you've all got that now. So so that was that I wanted to share with you. Excuse me. And then the second thing I wanted to share with you is the Facebook group, which I thought I had the link to here. I think, Steve, if you got the link, but basically it's Facebook groups and then / So we've called it the Remmert Method New Memory Garden, so that you can go into that Facebook group, it's a private group, and you can start creating your new memories, posting your new memories in there. And then, so that's like planting the seeds of your new memories. And then, that hasn't become a link, has it? Do I need to, is it a link? No. Let me see if I post it separately. Shame, because I just noticed, I noticed you all trying to write it down. I thought, should have gone as a link. Huh. No, I don't know if you can copy and paste it. I don't know. Sorry.
It should go as a link. I'll see if I can do something with it.
Figure it out. Yeah, so they can, because it's a bit tricky to copy down.
Well,
so
yeah.
and the course is called The Biology of Kindness. With the Facebook group, so you can plant your new memories there, and then you can also water them each day by practicing them, by going back there Sylvie says hyperlinks are currently blocked on Zoom for security reasons. Okay, thank you for letting us know. So that's good to know. And I'm checking Facebook, but it's not there. Let me see if I can grab. Here we go. I'm going to, it may not be showing in search results yet because I just created it this morning. Here we go. Again, you'll have to copy and paste it, that link, but there it is. So it's facebook.com/groups/new memory garden, or one word. And so the idea is that you can cultivate your new memories there in a private environment. So only other members will be able to see the posts, and only other members will even know that you're in the group. So it supports that that feeling of being able to create your own new memories. And of course, we're in that group as well. We will be supporting you if you need help or you need suggestions, and you can get inspired by other people's memories as well to give you ideas for your own. All right, so hopefully that's useful.
Odile,
Okay, yes.
I know that there was a question that popped up. Tahmina had her hand up earlier regarding when you were discussing the physiological stuff.
Okay, so let's have a look. Dogs show us unconditional love. Yes, they do. Odile, I was able to hold the feeling with my eyes open last night, and I moved my head around too. Hey, well done, Carrie. Yay, good job. I'm thrilled to hear about that. So keep practicing that. Keep practicing it. Don't push yourself too much, too far ahead. Practice that until it's in, and then keep moving on. So proud of you, sweetie. Well done. Good morning. Happy to be here in chat with all of you. Dogs are the best. Love us even when we don't like ourselves. Yes, indeed. Oh, he did say that this would apply to all animals. So it's just that the reason they did all the research on dogs was because they still thought it was the walking of the dog that made the difference to the heart. But he said, cats, rabbits, horses, it would work with whatever animal you love. And that's, of course, why with the Superpower exercise, we use something we love, including, even if it's an animal that's not your pet. It could be a penguin or, stick insect, as someone once used. So whatever. So Steve, I can't seem to see.
Just on mute, Tahmina.
Pardon?
Tahmina, if you have a question, go ahead.
Oh, I see a little hand. Sorry, Tahmina, I didn't see your hand.
My hand.
So the little raise your hand. So what was your question, Tahmina?
Oh, I don't know how that came about. Sorry. Okay, I'll quickly say something that may be of profound importance. I realized over the past few weeks, as I've been joining the online group, that the feeling of love and the light, I was working on that from about 2008, and without even realizing it, over a course of time, during times of adversity, I would use the love and my favorite color as a
Good.
form of healing. And like yourself, I was in a court case
Mhm.
with the bank. And I used the same technique, but in my case, it was in that very moment in the court with the judge. I used the light and this higher power,
Yes.
and the case went in my favor in that very split moment. I didn't realize until joining your Superpower course that that's
Yeah.
exactly what was going on.
Very
And I was using the love and light on my own healing, like when I have bruises, when I'd
Yes.
have cuts. It would be a matter of practicing it throughout the day.
Right.
But say the healing process by nature would probably take about 3-4 weeks. For me, it would actually take a week.
Yes.
But
That's
like
it.
you
Makes perfect sense.
always emphasize, you have to keep at it through the day.
That's right. Yes. And I think, you know, one of the things, because Steve and I were talking this morning as well about, you know, what are we doing differently to, because we like to see what everyone's doing and make sure that we're providing something beneficial and that is in alignment with everything. And so, for example, the exercises that Dr. David Hamilton refers to when he talks about kindness, practicing kindness, is a meditation called the Loving Kindness Meditation.
Yep.
And, you know, it's a meditation. So you spend time getting into the meditative state, and then
Yep.
you think about things or people or animals that you love. And so, and that's great. And meditation is fantastic.
Yep.
And, you know, hypnosis is fantastic, self-hypnosis, all of that. The bit that we're wanting to fill in is
Yep.
the in-between. Because
Yes.
the problem with meditation and all of those kind of things is they take time. So you need to sit
Yep.
still and do them. But then we all have to go back to our lives.
Yes,
And
exactly.
we are all dealing with challenges and people who
Yep.
trigger us. And, you know, and that is when then we start putting stress chemicals into our system again.
Exactly.
So,
yes.
Right. So the purpose of conditioning yourself into unconditional love, into a state of unconditional love, means that you are starting to live from that state regardless of what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to just be kind to someone or something, or regarding something that is not nice. You know, so if someone's mean to us or triggers us, you know, it's very difficult to think of being kind to them.
Exactly.
Just because we're human. And so somebody's betrayed us. But if you've practiced getting into the state of unconditional love as a power, then it is easy. Then it becomes easier.
What I'm trying to emphasize on is that over that long period of time, I was doing it on my own. And with this Superpower course and the online group, it's like I'm with like-minded people who are in the same ship. I call it a ship of boat because there's lots of people in there. And it's just amazing that as a what's the word for it, when we're in a group, a mass, it's just more powerful.
Absolutely. And we're designed that way. We're designed to, well, I mean, also it depends on
collective conscious.
Collective, yes, collective conscious, exactly. And, you know, depending on a person's belief, our belief is that we are all connected anyway. So when we do then consciously connect, it makes it that much stronger. And I believe that this is who we really are. And the reason you were doing that all by yourself was because it's who you really are. So it comes naturally. And it's only the stresses and the conditioning and all of the struggles that we have in life growing up that kind of, you know, trains it out of us temporarily, at least. So
absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you Tahmina, for sharing that, love. All right. Steve muted me. Are you trying to tell me something? You meant to mute Tahmina. All right. So thank you for that. And let's have a look. Greg Braden. Yes. Carrie says Greg Braden also discusses how heart-brain coherence benefits the body, and Dr. Joe Dispenza. Yes. So we've spoken about them before, but for those who don't know them, definitely look into Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza. They're really, really good resources for anyone who's interested in the science behind all of this, the biology and physiology behind it. Lisa says, I rescued a pit bull, and my son that has autism dresses her up in a suit and tie, and she lets him, and it makes me laugh because she just lets him. It took 3 months for her to come to us because she was so traumatized. She felt the love from us, and now she sleeps with us like a baby. Oh, how lovely. Oh, and it is true that, you know, people who, when you've got a connection with anything or anyone, but animals in particular, because of course they seldom argue. So, it's easier to form that bond. How lovely. Kara says, love that, Lisa. We have 2 pit bulls. They're so sweet and gentle. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And so now I'm going to pop round to each person again and find out how you're all doing. If you've got any particular questions or targets that you'd like us to aim at, and also if you've got any questions about what I shared this morning from David Hamilton. So Kara, starting with you, how are you today?
Oh, I am good.
Good. Any questions or anything?
I may already know the answer to this, but anyway, wondering about using the superpower for physical things. I mean, is it just the same? You just keep practicing it and aiming at the symptoms?
So yes, so essentially fill the whole of you first, the same way you would for any target, and then imagine that light or energy going to the particular symptom that you're aiming at. So I'll give you an example. For me, I've used it often on physical symptoms, and one of the most impressive ones to me was an abscess under my tooth. Excuse me. So what I did was I got into that state, and then I just imagined the light going from my heart to that. The light was all through me, but then I imagined it going specifically to that area. The key, where the power in that is, to love it exactly as it is, and that's the unconditional bit, which is where the power is. So you love it even if it doesn't change. So that's the case. That is the potency in this power, regardless of what you're aiming at, is that you know that it's pure. You know that you've got that power going when you can fill it with that love, that light, and love it exactly as it is without changing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I'll answer your question. And of course, now you know a little bit more as well about what's happening physiologically. So you're imagining that power going there, but as you're doing that, your whole body's being filled with oxytocin. It's having a healing effect. It's boosting your immune system. It's having all of those physiological effects. So it's not just like intangible. It's actually physiological as well. All right.
I have another question that I've been wanting to ask for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay if I talk about something Robert said?
Of course. Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Okay.
So Robert Smith, who created Fast EFT, is Kara's referring to.
So Robert tells a story of a woman who had pain. I don't remember which part of her body, but it was in a joint area. And she used Fast EFT and the pain went away. And a year later, she went to her doctor for a checkup. And the doctor did an x-ray and said, you should be having pain. Why aren't you having, it's bone on bone.
It's bone on bone, yeah.
Okay. So my question is, doesn't Fast EFT or this process heal to the root of the, or does it just get rid of the pain? Because if it just gets rid of the pain, that could be dangerous.
Yes. So very good question. And I think the answer to that is going to depend on the person. So the body has the ability to heal itself, as we know. You know, even if you break a bone, it's not the doctor that fixes it. It's the body heals itself. It's just the doctor's got to make sure that it's in the right place. But so with the bone-on-bone thing, I've also only heard Robert talk about it, so I don't know the details behind it, and I don't know the person. But what I'm guessing is that if it was bone on bone, I don't know what damage that does, or how, you know, I don't know enough about physiology or medical, you know, things to be able to know if that is degenerative or if it would just cause pain. I don't know if it does any damage. Probably there's someone in this group who has a medical background who might know. But as for what what these processes heal, changing childhood memories will heal, I don't really see it as heal. I see it as changing, like changing GPS. So let's say the reason for the condition is, you know, I'm trying to think of a real life example instead of using hers. So in my case, I had fibromyalgia. So fibromyalgia, pain and fatigue, and they don't know what causes it in that. But one of the things was not deserving. I felt, you know, I didn't deserve. And so that was one of the things I changed. Mind you, that's not a good example because I changed it before I changed childhood memories. That was stress, really. So let's say a person finds a memory of being, oh, I know, I remember one from a client. So someone she was ill and pain, or I think it was her knees. And so she wasn't able to do what she wants to do. And so we traced it back. The feeling behind it was being held back from doing what she wanted to do. And going back to her childhood, she was held back physically. She was bullied and held back. And so she felt like she couldn't take part in things because she was scared of being bullied and all of that. So the illness was keeping her safe from moving forward. Now, when we changed that, the pain, whatever was causing so the medical side of it, she'd already had everything checked and there was no apparent reason for the pain. It was just pain, but there was nothing they did x-rays and stuff like that. So in that case, the memory was changed and then the pain went because there was no longer any reason for her subconscious to hold her back. Now, a problem could come from if the pain was being caused by a tumor or something, but that's why we always say, always go to the doctor, always have it checked out medically. So the bone-on-bone thing, I'm coming back to that, I would say she needed to check with the doctor first what's going on with this pain, and then at the same time change the childhood memories, address it, use fast EFT or whatever it was she was using. You can do both, but it's essential to get medical attention for that reason. So then the medical route will heal the physical issue. So let's say there's a dislocated shoulder or something. Fast EFT, the Remmert method, is not going to heal that, of course. So you have to go to the doctor, have that addressed. But what it will heal is, or what it will address is the pain and the healing from there. Does that kind of make sense?
Kind of. I mean, It does make sense. I don't know as it totally answers the question, but that's okay.
No, I want to completely answer the question. So let me know which bit I've missed out or haven't answered clearly.
I probably need a few minutes to digest what you said. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I suppose, yeah, because I'm sorry, I was very convoluted with getting to the point as well, which probably didn't help. So I think two main things. The first thing is always get medical attention anyway. That's the first and most important thing, because there could be a medical condition, and a medical reason. So do that. And if it's, you know, if the doctor says this is what you need, the treatment you need, then of course follow that. That's important. And then at the same time, you can address changing childhood memories so that it allows your body and your brain to be in the best possible state for healing, so that you've lowered the stress chemicals, you've got the feel-good chemicals, so your brain and body are healing naturally and quickly as they can under the circumstances. I hope that helps. Oh, good. Okay. All right. If anything else comes up, let me know, because I'm very happy to. I love answering questions, so I'm very happy to clarify further. All right. Thanks, Kara. All right. So then going on to Bogislava. Hi, Bogislava. Good morning.
Hello. I'm okay today.
Good.
I sleep like 9 hours every day. I don't know why.
Good. Yeah, probably because you're processing stuff, you're processing changes.
I work a little bit, not too much, because I'm getting tired very fast. It doesn't want to change the memory. I just stop. I'm getting tired. So.
That's okay. Just love it. Just decide that you love it and take a break. Yeah.
Yeah, when I remember, I do that.
Good. Very good. Good job.
And I don't have question. I'm glad to be here, and I hope we're going to continue for next week too.
Yes, we will. Yeah, we will. Yes, so everybody, we will be here again next week. It'll be the same link, but the same Zoom link, but I will send out a new booking link for those who want to book, just because then you'll get the reminder email at 1 hour and 20 minutes too, so that it's just easier for clicking the link to get in. So Kathy, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, Odile. Kara started my mind thinking about, I have a sister who's going through some really difficult health issues, and yesterday, to top it off, she was diagnosed with skin cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So my question would be, she's been quite negative in the last few years. She was taking care of my father, and they had a very toxic relationship. So I'm wondering if I send her healing light and whatnot, is it kind of a waste of my time, given I can't change what's going on for her? I can't suggest things because she's just not in the headspace to accept what she might deem woo-woo stuff. So I'm just wondering if sending her light healing energy is going to be helpful or just a waste of my time.
Okay, good question. So two parts to that. The first thing is that it's never a waste of time, and the reason for that is because you're improving your own state. So it's always, no matter where you're sending it, it's always worth doing, because it's empowering you and optimizing your physiological state as well. The second part of it is that, without going too deeply into quantum science, we are all connected anyway, as far as quantum physics is concerned. So if you look into the stuff that Joe Dispenza teaches and Greg Braden, whenever you are doing that, sending love to someone or something, it is affecting them on some level. Now, my view is that to what extent that level will depend on how much they're allowing it in, but not consciously, but subconsciously. So we don't know. So we know, you know how she feels consciously, she's from the things she said and the behaviors, but we don't know what's going on unconsciously. So I would say it absolutely is worth sending, but what I would do is I would make sure that it's unconditional. So love her exactly as she is, love the disease as it is without needing it to change, and you're shining light into that darkness.
Perfect.
Does that sound good? Yeah, very good.
Thanks.
Good job. You're welcome, love. All right, and then Katrina. Good morning.
Good morning.
Katrina. Hey, how are you today?
Yeah, two different things going on. Something interesting was, what was it? When you complimented me yesterday, I'm going to refer to like the saying playing tennis, when you say that's great, well done, great job, whatever you're saying. Then I try to, so you're complimenting me, you're saying you're doing great, and then there's all this pressure put on me. Oh my God, I have to keep doing well, and then I just.
Okay.
So what's happening there?
So that's very good, and you're not alone. That's quite a common thing. So that will be coming from childhood. So if you think back, so if you think what that feeling is, that feeling of pressure, whatever that is, and then find it in your child, where did you did you experience it in your childhood, the feeling? So it may be a different topic, but it will be that feeling of, oh, now I'm expected to, or now I've got pressure, I don't know if I can, whatever's there, or it may be feeling like I don't want to do it, but I have to now because, they expect it, something around that, and then change those memories. Does any of that ring a bell?
No, but if I refer to the tennis, I would want to stay there. But it's like somebody saying, no, you're not going to stay at this level. So say I'm winning,
Yes.
and then it's like, no, it's like you can't win. Like, who are you?
Right. Okay. So then that's the thing. That's the reference to change. So how do you know you can't? How do you know that you can't stay at that level? You can't win. Find out where in your childhood you learned that.
Okay.
So when you were doing well, look for times when you were doing well. And if you can't find them, that's okay. Then just create new memories of the opposite. So you winning all the time, and your parents going, we're so proud of Katrina. She always wins. Whatever she does, everything she touches turns to gold. It's fantastic. We're so proud of her. And as you do that, your brain will come up with contradicting memories, and then you can change them. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's, if for everybody else as well, if you can't find a link, then just create new memories from scratch, and either your subconscious will automatically change whatever's there, if it can. If it can't, because it's got evidence to the opposite, then you'll suddenly remember something. You go, oh, there's that, and then you can change it to match the new memories. Make sense? Very,
and the
very.
other thing was, today I was practicing singing a song that was on the internet, and it was to do with, every little cell in your body. You might have heard it. Have you?
No.
And so, like yesterday of Robbie Williams, I didn't like the theme, or I didn't like, so I changed it to my version of singing, for me. And do you know the song Vera Jacka?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I put these words, and for some unknown reason, the little Katrina wants to sing it to that. I was thinking of, is it Cheryl's? She has a little girl.
Carrie.
Carrie, yeah. And if she, everybody should be doing it, because what do you call it? It makes the little child so confident in themselves if they sing it in their own version of song that they have. So I'm not going to sing it. It's only 4 lines.
Yes, go ahead.
Would you like to hear it?
Absolutely, yes, please.
Well, you do it when you're, when you're walking, when you're exercising, when you're doing anything, just do it. Even if you don't want to, you just do it or sing it. So it goes like, oh God, right. I am happy, all is well. Goodness me, all is well. Every little cell in my body, happy and well. And you just keep going over and over and over.
That is fantastic. I love it. Yes. Yeah. That is beautiful. So I'm just thinking, perhaps when we, Steve, when you edit, would you be able to just write those words down for us to make a note of it? Or Katrina, if you could just type it in the chat, and then everybody can copy and paste it from there, and then we'll also put it in the description so we can all practice, because we all know the tune, but having those words is lovely. And as you can say, you put it in you put it in another tune as well. So fantastic. And that's lovely to do, because with things like that, with little tunes, little songs like that, with such powerful words, it's so easy for them to become background. As we know, the earworms, what do they call it? Yeah, earworms. If you're going to have something repeating itself in your head, it might as well be something that's going to change your life. So that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Katrina. Appreciate that. Very good.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And so let's see, we've got chat here. In digging into all of this, I've managed to dredge up a lot of crud and I'm feeling overwhelmed. This was immediately reflected in my basement. I had organized it so perfectly, and like magic in a day, it's like a bomb blew up. I feel frozen, having a hard time getting restarted. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. And that is not unfamiliar to me. So I can tell you that I know that feeling well. And what it is it's your brain needing time to process. So I would say, take some time to do, and I know you may be in a position where you have to do it, but if you don't have to do something, put it off for the moment and be as kind and gentle to yourself as you can. Get as much sleep as you can. Sleep, water, nutrition, and of course, exercise if you can. So be as kind to yourself as you can, because what's happening, what overwhelm is trying to drive the car with the handbrake on. So what overwhelm is trying to do something while you haven't got your prefrontal cortex online, because the blood is drained from there because of the stress chemicals from negative emotions. And the problem with it is it's like spinning your wheels, because the more you try and, the more you feel overwhelmed, the more the blood doesn't come back to the prefrontal cortex. And so it becomes a vicious circle. So the top priority is take it easy as much as you can. Take a step back, do things that feel good, watch movies, listen to things that you enjoy. And in fact, you might want to do the David Hamilton's course. So it's a free course, and just listening to him talk is very uplifting and lovely. So that can help, and it can take you out of the things that are making you feel overwhelmed. And then once you're feeling better, so it may be the next day, that's okay, maybe 2 days later, as much as you can. I know there are some things that we have to get done, and then just do the bare minimum just to get through it, but practice feeling good as much as you can. And then when you come back, when you're feeling better, you come back to it. So, the basement feeling like a bomb blew up, I know that feeling well. And again, once you have, so you're feeling frozen, the reason you're feeling frozen is because your prefrontal cortex is offline. Once that comes back online, you will know what to do. And it will be, oh, I'll just do that, and then I'll do that. And you'll be in a more strategic state. So I hope that helps. So taking it as easy as possible and doing whatever it takes to feel good, including reaching out to us in the Facebook groups if you need to, or, reaching out to friends, put on some music, do whatever it takes. See it as this is sore muscles. This is sore muscles from new exercise. That's the, the equivalent. Someone asked, Kara asks, couldn't ESC heal a tumor too? As Joe Dispenza said, he has seen that many times in patients. And yes, it can. So I have a personal, experience of that. When was it now? I can't remember now, but it was last year sometime, I think. Certainly my brother Steve, I don't know if you can remember when that was. I've lost track. But sometime last year, my brother was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And non-Hodgkin's is the bad one. And by the time he eventually went to the doctor, it was all through his body. It had spread to everywhere. He had a big tumor on his leg, and so there was a lot going on. And he doesn't follow us as such. He's very proud of what I'm doing, and he believes a lot in it, but he also has his own beliefs and stuff as well. But what he did do, and I'm so grateful for it, because he has quite a lot of, we all have a lot of stuff from childhood, and he has probably more than I do, trauma from childhood. But I'm very grateful. I had recommended Joe Dispenza to him, and he started using Joe Dispenza's meditations along with doing his own stuff. And he has, his own mindset and things. And but the main thing is he prioritized it. He stopped everything else and he went, right, I'm doing this, and he really went full into zero tolerance of any negative stuff and that. And I'm very happy to say he's in remission. And that's from stage 4 non-Hodgkin's all over his body. So now he did the medical route as well. So it's very important that it wasn't just changing his, it wasn't just his mindset. There was a treatment. It's a kind of new treatment, chemotherapy, but it's more holistic.
Homeopathic. Yeah.
Yeah, well, not complete, not only homeopathic. So it was, or was it? Maybe it was.
It was a hybrid.
A combination. That's right. Because I know that one of the key things was this particular treatment. So my brother is in South Africa, and this particular treatment was they would take tests to check the count, the blood, the count, the whatever it is. I don't know a lot about it, but to check what specifically he needed. Then they would send that report overseas from South Africa to, I don't know, probably America or England or something. And then they would get the precise, so he was getting lower levels of chemotherapy, but it was targeted. So that was what it was. It was particularly targeted to exactly what was going on in his body that particular week or that particular day. So it was that plus the mindset. And the reason I know it was the mindset as well is because no one was more surprised than the doctor. My brother said, he would text me and he'd say that he went for his test or whatever. And he said the doctor was practically skipping into the room going, and one week he said, this week's chemo is on the house, because he was so over the moon that, at the progress that my brother had made. And my brother said he doesn't realize that it's because I've been also changing my mindset, and it makes sense. If you think of what stress chemicals do to our bodies, you could be having the treatment, but if you're producing stress chemicals all the time, your body's not getting a chance to assimilate that and move forward. Whereas if you are supporting the treatment with keeping your body in an optimum state for healing, then of course it's going to work together. So yes, that's my personal experience of that. And my brother's not perfect. He, like all of us, he's nowhere near perfect, but he's a wonderful person, and I love him to bits, and he's very funny. But he has a lot of baggage, so he's not zen all the time. So he has a side to him that's very laid back and did this, but he also has a lot of anger and a lot of hurt and betrayal from childhood and stuff. So if he could do it, then anyone can. So I'm very proud of him, and of course I'm very grateful that that's what happened. So there we go. So hopefully that helps to inspire others as well. Let's have a look. Neville Goddard talks about revision, changing memories. Yes, he does. And so Steve and I have had this conversation as well, because we've especially Steve has listened to and read a lot of Neville. And the difference is that, because Steve said to me, but Neville does this, and he does, but he doesn't do it with childhood. So the key, the missing piece, so Neville Goddard is fantastic to listen to, and I highly recommend him if you don't know me already. But the key to add to what he does is that it's the childhood memories you need to change. Because if you change like he talks about revising the day and revising incidents that have happened in your life, you do that, but you don't change the childhood, then the childhood is still going to be affecting moving forward. It's like a GPS, it's like GPS coordinates. It's still going to be recreating the same thing. So you have to change those. Can't make it up. My iPad died. Oh, I see. Can't make it up. So the person who asked about the overwhelm and that her iPad died when she was trying to record with the phone, listening intently. I missed it. Okay, so we will, of course, we'll post this recording, but very briefly, the overwhelm is because the prefrontal cortex is offline. So as you're trying to figure out what to do about your basement, your prefrontal cortex is not working. So it's like trying to drive with the handbrake on and you're spinning your wheels. So the top priority, what I was saying about that, about the overwhelm, the basement and all of that, is to give yourself a break as much as possible. Don't do anything that's not essential. Put off what you can. I know that you may have to get certain things done, but do the bare minimum. Be as kind to yourself as possible. So top of your priority list, above even the things you have to do, is to be kind to yourself. Put some music on, listen to music you love, watch comedy. And I was suggesting the David Hamilton's free course, The Biology of Kindness. That is absolutely lovely to watch and listen to. He's lovely to watch and listen to. He's very enthusiastic, so that helps as well. Watching and listening to stuff that feels good as much as you can. And then once your prefrontal cortex is back online and you're feeling better, then you can go back to look at the basement and go, okay, and you'll be able to strategize more easily. So I hope that helps, love. Wow, it's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Daydream about surprising my doctor. Yes, good. And oh yes, and as Steve has reminded me, we need to actually do the exercise. Okay, let's do it. So yes, so take a deep breath, close your eyes. All right. And get into your superpower state. However you do that, so using your word or phrase, or using the little exercise of hugging something or someone you love, and home in on your heart, the feeling in your heart, feeling in your chest, and allow your heart to expand, allow it to open up and expand with that beautiful light, that energy, that love. And if you have trouble tuning in, just drill down a little bit more on what you love about your subject, why you love your subject, and the connection and affection between you. And now allow that light or energy to spread throughout your body, to the top of your head, to the bottom of your feet and the tips of your toes, and out to your fingertips. Very good. And now fill each of the 50 trillion cells of your body with that same love, that light. Love them just for existing. And now fill the little you with that same love just for existing, that light, that energy, that beautiful unconditional love. Very good. And now imagine your subject trying to get away from you, and keep them filled with that love, that light, that energy anyway. Love them anyway. Very good. And now let's aim that light or energy at Kara. So feel Kara from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips with that light, that energy. Love Kara just for existing. Very, very good. And now let's go on to Kathy. So feel Kathy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips with that beautiful light, that energy. Love Kathy just for existing. Very, very good. And now on to Lisa. Fill Lisa with that light or energy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Lisa just for existing. Very, very good. And now Katrina. So fill Katrina with that same light or energy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head, out to her fingertips. Love Katrina just for existing. Very, very good. And now to Boguslava. Fill Boguslava with that same light, that energy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head, out to her fingertips. Love Boguslava just for existing. Very, very good. Good job. And now we're going to go on to Tahmina, who's not on camera, but she's asked, she said she has a headache. So let's fill Tahmina with that same love, that light, that energy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head, out to her fingertips. Love Tahmina just for existing. And now imagine that light or energy filling her head with that love, that power. The headache, just love it anyway. And love Tahmina anyway. Even with the headache, love her anyway, exactly as she is. Very, very good. And let's fill everyone who's not on camera with that same love, that light, that energy from the tips of their toes to the top of their head and out to their fingertips. Love each of them just for existing. And now let's go to Cheryl and fill Cheryl with that same love, that light, that energy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head, out to her fingertips. Love Cheryl just for existing. And I want you to imagine that light, that energy overflowing from Cheryl and filling the basement and everything else she needs to do. Fill all of it with that love, no matter what. Love it all anyway. That light, that energy, that pure, unconditional love. Very, very good. And now allow that light or energy to overflow from you to everyone else in the group, and in particular, any health concerns. So all of the health concerns, fill them all with that light, that energy, that unconditional love, no matter what. This is your power. Very, very good. And now fill your childhood with that same love, that light, that energy. Love your whole childhood and everyone involved, starting, of course, with the little you. Fill that little you with that light, that energy, that pure, unconditional love, and then allow it to overflow from that little you and fill your whole childhood, everything, everyone in it. That power. Very, very good. And now think of yourself later today or this evening, and fill that version of you with that light, that energy. Love that version of you no matter what, just for existing, and no matter what may happen. Love that version of you anyway. Very, very good. And you can open your eyes. And how was that for everyone? It's good? Good job. Very good. Yay. And of course, let us know if you've got any questions or anything before we end. And a reminder for those who want help with the childhood memory side of things, that on Saturday, this Saturday, so 25th, we're doing a full day online workshop in Zoom. So exactly like this, but it's a smaller group, and we will take each participant through finding the specific memories that are causing the issues they want to change, and then of course changing them. So if you're interested in that, the link is on the resources page. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the link to the workshop there, and you can find out more information on that. All right. Oh, and included in that workshop is we're working with a nutrition and lifestyle coach called Sheila Peterson. So she will be presenting on cravings, nutrition, and cravings and emotions and nutrition. All right. So I think that's all for today. Unless there's any questions, there's some thank yous. You're also very welcome. I'm so glad that it's helpful. Love is the superpower for everyone. Yes, it is. Very good. You're very welcome, everyone. Lots of love to all of you, and we'll see you again tomorrow. All right. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.